Hello, I'm Ragnarok, and welcome to The Reckoning. So today, we are starting Season 2 of the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles playthrough. So last season, which was actually quite a while ago, and there's been a lot of changes to Conan Vanilla and to the Age of Calamitous mod itself. So last season, we made a character, we followed a way through. We had some pretty big jumps in between episode to episode. And we went over a lot of like tips and little tricks that I use, everything from little beginners to experienced players and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something again this season, but including all the changes. The really awesome thing about this is last season, the character I was playing with was also the character that I streamed. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/RagnarrockLive. Link is in the description below. And so it makes a pretty big gap between episode to episode. This season, this is actually my alt account, so this would be a character that we will only play for the episode guide, so there'll be less jumps. From episode 1 to episode 2, there's not going to be like a 30 level jump. So that'd be pretty cool. We'll be able to follow this character a lot closer with all the things the character does. The aim of this season is going to be giving a lot of tips and showing new players some of the new things that you can do and how to start off the game and how to progress through the game. Tricks that I have for dealing with, faction camps and a lot of other things that are kind of complicated for newer players to deal with, or just show them what there is. We're going to be going over vanilla stuff and Age of Calamitous stuff. But we'll also have little tips and tricks in there for advanced players, people, maybe there's a camp that you've never dealt with before, or as new updates come out, which we are like a week or two away from a massive Conan update with the mounts and the thrall leveling system, as well as massive Age of Calamitous update. So we'll be able to explore those in future episodes. So we'll be able to see all the new stuff and deal with all that. So that'd be pretty cool. So like I said, we're going to treat this as if we're speaking to both new players and veterans. So if you're veteran and I go over something a little, that's a little more obvious or whatever, don't worry about it. We'll get to the complicated stuff too. So character creation, brand new character. Let's do it. All right. So for all the new players, race does not matter. It's pure RP. And it gives you a template of what to start with, but you can change what these look like, period. Religion, again, does not matter. You can look it up. There's a bunch of videos on it. Maybe we'll do a video on this in the future, but each religion, except for Crom, you have a specific temple, you have specific items you can make, and stuff like that, which is kind of cool and unique to each religion. This does not matter, though, however, because you can learn each religion through normal playthrough, so you could, by the end of the game, have all these religions. So it's not a huge deal. What I would suggest is don't ever pick Yogg. I'll show you why in this episode. Basically, the Yogg trainer that teaches you Yogg religion is actually right in the beginning area, so there's no reason to pick him up front, because if you pick somebody else, then you can have two pretty much within the first, 15 minutes of the game. This is whatever, and I'm a savage. All right, another thing that I get asked a lot is, how'd you get those glowy eyes? I'm not going to do that this time, but... So in your face, head options in face, from here to the left is vanilla. These are all the vanilla faces. And from here to the right are the ones added for the Age of Calamitous mod. So if you want the glowy eyes, or the pointy ears, or the combination of both, there you go. Now, these eyes you can't change. Like, once you do this, if you go down to the eye colors, it won't change the color of this eye. So you're if you want red, you're going to get this one. You want green, blue, whatever, or teal, or whatever. We are actually not going to choose glowy eyes. We're going to choose this one. For skin, we'll just choose regular. For color hair, we're going to go with purple. Age of Calamitous adds a bunch of colors, as you can see. Same with color skin and stuff like that. So there's some extra colors added. We're going to go for this. We'll do some eyebrows. I guess purple hair, purple eyebrows, right? Let's go with blue eyeshadow. Yeah, that looks cool. So this is where, if you don't choose the glowy eyes, you can actually change your eye color. So this is kind of cool. I kind of like that. Actually, that looks kind of cool too. I think we're going to go blue, though. I think we're going to go with a nice blue eye like that. But the Age of Calamitous adds a lot of really cool colors. So you don't always have to choose the glowy eyes. And then for this, doesn't really matter. This is all personal preference. I would say that the height can change a little bit. I would assume that a smaller character, smaller hitbox for PvP, maybe not. One thing to say about if you make the tallest characters, you will sometimes get stuck in doorways if they're built in a certain way. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is crouch and you can go through it. It's very rare and it's only specific type like combinations of builds. I never have a problem except for like once in a blue moon. All you do is crouch for like 2 seconds and you get through. You're done. So just to make that aware. For the name, we're just gonna go Wrath because I am the Wrath of the Emperor. Little shout out to Swotor there. And let's get into it. All right, you can listen to this story on your own time. All right, so let's move around real quick. Let me get the highway to open up. Come on, give me the label. There it is. That's what I was looking for. So when you go into new areas, there's a lot of discoverables over the map. It'll tell you, and then what it does is it unlocks. Oops, right here. It unlocks the little description that will always be on the map, so you know where everything is. One thing to make note for any new players is the broken highway. There are multiple of them over the map. So there's one here, and I think there's one over here. You can spawn at any of them randomly. It doesn't really matter. If you die, you don't have a bedroll or a bed. You will die. You will respawn at the broken highway, but it'll be any of these at random, not the same when you spawn in it. So just something to be aware of if you're meeting a friend or something like that, and you're like, "Hey, I'm on the broken highway." You're gonna want to tell them what broken highway you're on. You know, I-2, or if you're in this one, G2 or whatever. So what we're gonna do is go over a couple quick tips. If you go into your menu and you go to right here, Journey, this is something that a lot of people use right off the bat. I use pretty much right away. These are your journey steps. Every time you complete one of these, it gives you a good amount of experience, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. It does tell you what they are. Once you complete it, it turns white. Once you complete all these, it will give you what these are. They'll unlock these question marks. So if you happen to by chance do one of these, it will actually unlock it and turn it white and tell you what it is. But it won't actually tell you what they are uncompleted until you finish each chapter in succession. These are really good to go by because these will kind of guide you through the game, give you some tips on what to do and stuff like that. So I would suggest, especially if you're a new player, reading these and just accomplishing these one by one. That will pretty much help you figure out the game. So one of the tips, so we're going to look at right now, is I'm level 1. All right, hold on. Let's wait until we hit level 2. We're going to hit it in a second. There. Where is it? Let's hit level 2. I'm going to pick up some rocks. There it is. Okay. So, as you can see, I'm level 2 right there. Now I'm going to use a journey step. And now I'm that far in journey 2, or level 2. Let's roll. And now I'm almost level 3. Let's kick. And now we're halfway through level 3. So we literally did a level and a half just by doing 3 journey steps. As you can see, kick, dodge, climb, stuff like that. So you want to do the journey steps. That will help you level early game really, really fast. Obviously, it scales as you get later in the game. It's not as bad or as good, but it's still, every little bit counts. When you're running down the broken highway, make sure you keep a lookout. Usually it's by these skeletons. On each broken highway, it's a little different. Sometimes it's a lot closer to that little lore stone. Sometimes it's farther, whatever. But there's always a skin and a lore object. Lore objects we don't care about. I'm gonna drop it, but we care about the water skin because we need water. And guess what? If I drink the water, I'm pretty sure that's a journey step. So as you make your way down the broken highway, you're just gonna want to pick up twigs. And you're going to want to pick up rocks. And then you want to stop at these nice little bushes right here. And you want to get some fiber. You're going to be doing a lot of this early game. Because fiber is pretty much like, what you need for everything. Get some rocks. And we're just going to keep running. Basically, the goal is you follow the broken highway all the way up here to the river. And we're going. So you're going to see a little, another lore or story thing in action. Don't ever worry about this guy. He's not going to hurt you. He's not going to kill you. He's going to run every time you can go right up to him and punch him. It doesn't do anything. It's like an animation pretty much. Pick up the book. No more lore. Again, you don't need to. It's just up to you. I'm going to get a couple more of this so I can complete another journey step. Let's see if that's enough. So if you go into your main menu, this is your handcrafted menu. As you open up new things that you can do in your feats. This is your feats menu with all the different stuff you can do. You'll learn this will fill up more. So what we need to do is we're going to clothe ourselves. Craft. And it tells you what you need right there, right? Craft. We're going to get some Nice that. We're going to get a pick and an axe. We're going to make a torch. We're going to make a little bit of twine so we can make a bedroll. And when we get this piece of... this will auto-clothe us because we're naked right now. There you go. And that's another journey step and another level. So something just to make note for you, I'm actually going to go a little off the Broken Highway. We are on an online server. This is not a single-player server. This is actually the community server that we have for our Discord channel. So if you're interested in you're looking for a new PvE server, this is a PvE server. You know, the Discord link is in the description below. Join it. Check it out. We actually have 2 different servers currently that we have for our community. They're both PvE. One's a little bit more like fantasy based, but they're open to anybody that's part of our community. So feel free to join that and check it out. It's a 2x harvest server. So if you're new to the game and wondering why my rates are different than yours, I'm getting 2 times the rates that you would get on an official normal server. Most private servers are actually, they do improved rates. I don't know many that do vanilla rates. So we're going to bring out that. And there you go. And then last thing, the torch. And then I usually make a bedroll real quick. I place it down. That's another journey step. And then I pick it up. The bedrolls, when you place them down, if you leave it there, it'll say owner, you know, my name, Wrath. And if you die, you'll respawn at that bedroll. My suggestion always is as you move place to place, which I usually have the people on my server do, is, you know, just pick up your bedroll. If you know you're no longer going to need a bedroll in one location, you know, pick it up. Don't leave trash all over the place. But also to make note for newer players, you can only have one bedroll active at a time. So if you place down a new one and it will kind of the other one will still be there. Although I think they might have fixed that. I haven't really tried it in a long time because I usually use beds, not bedrolls. But you can only have one respawn location as far as a bedroll, and then you can have one bed spawn location, so a full-on bed that you make. And then you can have the desert. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to skip forward a little bit so you guys don't have to watch me run, is my goal is to make it all the way west to the end of the river. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run. I'm not going to, you know, I might pick up some more mats on the way and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do anything other than just run. So we're going to skip forward in time so you guys don't have to watch me run the 5 minutes it's going to take me to get across. Okay, so here we are. We made it all the way to the west. Hopefully I don't get attacked while I'm standing here. Nope, we're good. All right, so just to show you where I am, I actually died once, so I had to actually do the run all over again. And the reason I died is because I wasn't really prepared. And as you make it west, you make it to the end of this river, which is like right there. I think that's the point. You get into there's a big camp. So the reason we're going over here is because this is where the faction hall is. Now, the faction hall is if you're playing the Age of Calamitous mod, this is where you're going to choose your faction. Now, the faction is really cool in this mod, and why I love this mod so much is because it's basically like a unique clan, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, or like a faction, that you will join, and you'll get unique building materials, unique decorations, unique armors and weapons. So it's really, really cool. It adds an added tier of an added element to the game. It's really, really sweet, but you have to go to the faction hall. To get to the faction hall, you have to go through this camp. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cheese it. So I'm going to show you how to cheese it. So, come on the left side. As you can see, there's this nice little big pillar right here. We're going to climb up this rock. So as you can see, we're going to look in the camp. There's a lot of guys in there. Or, you know, 3 there, another 3 right there. Right down here, there's 2. There's one or 2 there. 2 more, 3 more right there. It's a pretty big camp. You can fight your way through it. I see a lot of people, though, what they end up doing is they built to like level 15 or something right outside here. They get some mats. They get some basic light armor, maybe like a nice weapon or something, which I crafted on the way, which I'll show you how to do that when we get to our next location. But essentially the feats in your feats menu, weapons menu, as soon as I hit that level, all I did is unlock this one. I have all the DLCs currently. So when you unlock this first level, it actually unlocks all these DLCs also, which is kind of sweet if you have the DLCs. But these are just skins more or less, so you don't really need these. They're not a massive advantage. It's mostly just skins, but they are really cool skins. So if you like that kind of stuff, which I do. But yeah, I just crafted that weapon in my inventory right here. I like maces, or not maces, hammers, two-handed hammers. They're really, really good in the current meta, so I like to use them. So that's what I did. I just needed some branches, which I pick up off the ground, and some stone. And I just did it as an added layer of protection for the journey. But basically, if you want to cheese this, which I really don't call it cheesing, because the faction hall, it's something that I think you should get right off the bat before you even build like a temporary base. Because you might as well join your faction right off the bat. It's not hard to get to, but like I said, especially with the changes to the combat system and how thralls are, and probably the changes that are about to happen in the next big update, I would assume that it's going to get a lot harder to get to the faction hall. So this is just kind of one of the ways you can get there a lot easier, faster. So you're not, spending the first 30 minutes of the game just trying to get enough gear to get in here, and then you're going to leave here and never come back. Well, not that you'll never come back, but so you slide down here, you skip these 3 dudes, or people, and you skip this. This is a dungeon, but here you go, a portal. So if you don't have the Age of Calamitous mod, you will not have this. I'm going to go through, and this is our faction hall. So I'm going to show you one thing real quick. If we go to our feats menu, we go to our religion tab. Right now, we have no religions. We haven't learned any religions. You can unlock them for 50 feat points, but if you can actually unlock this first tier for free. So you just got to find the trainer. But there's nothing else here. Just make note of that. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to... I will show all the factions real quick. If you're interested in seeing more of these factions, we do have a video for all 6 of the factions. We show the building, what the buildings look like, all the tiers, all the pieces, all the decorations, the armors, the weapons. We have stats and all that stuff. The videos are a little older, so the stats might have changed slightly, but they're still pretty close. So just make note of that. You may need the stats may be a little different, or the materials needed to craft them might be a little different, but it's all still the same. So this is the Alliance of Stormhold, or Stormhold Alliance. I always forget which order it goes in. And this is just an example of 2 of their buildings. This is like their tier 1 buildings. This is the building you can make right off the bat, instead of the vanilla tier 1 building, which is this. Sandstone. Gross. And here's an example of your starter armor that you get right off the bat, your endgame armor, your endgame weapon, and then some of your mixed-in weapons throughout the leveling, throughout the gameplay for this faction. So that's pretty cool armor, in my opinion. Here's another little example of some of the building types you can do. It's like a little model replica of what the different tier builds look like. And we'll go through the other ones a little faster. Next, we have the Order of Felgarth. Little different building. As you can see, it looks more like mages and stuff like that, so it's kind of cool. Mages and scholars. And again, we have videos on all this stuff, so if you want to see more in depth, or you can just come here and look at it. This is the Elven Covenant, so we got some elves and stuff, which they're pretty cool. They get some white oak builds and stuff. Typical bows and arrows. Some really cool swords, some really cool light armors. Really cool decorations and stuff. So they're pretty sweet. This is actually the newest faction that was added a couple months back. Elvenor. Another magic faction. You can kind of think of them like a fancier Felgarth. Little nicer weapons. Their beginning game armor is really, really cool. As you can see, little dragons on the body. You can see they like dragons. Nicer decorations. Their builds are pretty cool. Next one we have is the Vaingul, which are basically orcs and half-breeds. And as you can see, they're tall as hell. This is actually one of the factions that's really cool because the males are super tall. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So they actually are scaled, so they look more like orcs and stuff, as you can see through. Let's go see this one right here. So there's your red eyes. From if you want to make like an orc, you do the red eyes. I mean, you can do any color eyes, really, but green skin and stuff like that. Brown buildings, some really cool weapons. And then the last but not least, which is going to be the faction that I'm going to choose for this playthrough, because I've actually only chose it once to start with. And I didn't really make it that far with it, just because I ended up playing a different account or a different server. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But this is the Cold Embrace. So it's very similar to Stormhold, but as you can see, blue glowy eyes. They're darker. Their buildings are darker. Their armor is more awesome. their weapons look more sinister and stuff, so I like it. So, and then they also have a faction that is they're kind of linked to, which you can only get in a purge, at least currently. And that would be the Sanguis, their Order of Assassins. So here we go. So the way you do it is you talk to this dude.
As a knight of the cold embrace.
And you get some nice little voice acting there, which is pretty sweet. There is a couple places in the Age of Calamitous mod currently that have voice acting, and who knows, maybe there'll be more to come. But you just talk to this guy, and he gives you a token. If you talk to all the ghosts in all the rooms, you'll have a token, which will bear the banner of each of the factions. So, as you see right there, there's that banner, and there it is. So all you do is, even if you have all 6, just make sure you select the correct one, Cold Embrace, and then you hit Use. And guess what? And then you can drop the rest of the tokens on the ground if you have all the other ones. Now, if we go to Feats, Religion, now I'm the Cold Embrace. So this is one thing people forget a lot. Make sure you save points for unlocking the first. Usually you'll have this one right off the bat. You'll probably be at least level 5 by the time you come here. This one may not be unlocked yet if you're not level 10. But you definitely want to do this one, or else you can't build in your faction, which I'm going to save this for right now. I'm not going to show that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to leave. Now, you can look at that. That's something that's maybe coming in the future. It's you just go over there, you talk to him, and he basically talks about like how they're working on something to open a door or a portal or something like that. It's just a little teaser for the future, I'm sure. Nothing really cool to see over there. Or, I mean, it's cool, but nothing to show over there for at least this video. But definitely check it out when you come here. Oop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave. I'm not going to bother fighting these, and I'm actually going to leave the same way I came in, more or less. I am going to go around instead of climbing over this thing. I'll go here. And then I'm going to go up. Boom. All right, so what I'm going to do is, again, we're going to skip forward ahead a little bit. And I'm going to start running east on the river, but this time I'm going to run on the north side of the river instead of the south side. So just something to make note. So this is pretty much, this is what I'm going to refer to as Noob River, up until you hit about this peninsula. So I usually say anything from I, the edge of I and J, all the way to the dregs, which is where we are now. This is the dregs. That's the dungeon that I was talking about. There's a dungeon in that room with the faction portal. This is Noob River. The south side of it, all the creatures, you see these big like Ninja Turtle looking dudes. They're pretty easy to fight as long as you have like a weapon. All the thralls, the NPCs, you see there are pretty easy to fight as long as you have a weapon. I mean, just be careful. They can take off good chunks of life. There occasionally can spawn like a little like mini boss or whatever in these areas, or an elite creature, I guess is probably more appropriate. Be careful with those. Usually you can tell if they're elite because they have glowy eyes. When you go on the north side of the river, they get a little harder, but as long as you stay close to the water, they're still meant for lower level, like probably the level I am now, 10 plus. So you should be able to survive, but if you stay by the water, you should be fine regardless. You know, if you start getting swarmed, just hop into the water, de-aggro, get back on land, run. So, or you can just swim in the water, because NPCs in the game currently cannot swim after you, so it would just take longer. But anyways, we're going to skip forward ahead until we get a little more west for the next point. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to show you where we are on the map right now. So we started moving our way east. And we've come to this point right here where you see this broken bridge. Well, right before this broken bridge, right here, is a little pathway. So we're going to make a small detour before we get to where we're actually going to go. So we're going to come up here. And there's just a couple things that I want to show as suggestions. And there's a main thing up here you're going to want to do before you go any farther. And this is going to apply to the vanilla game or Age of Calamitous. Everything I'm about to show you applies to both. So the first thing you want to do is you want to come over here. And you're going to see this throughout the map, throughout your play. You're going to see little ghosts, and they're going to act out a scenario. Now, there are a couple of them that really don't do anything, but a majority of them point out or are near some point of importance. In this instance, it's these little white old campfires. If you see these, they almost always, if not always, have a book next to them or some kind of lore object. If you click on it, sometimes it's just lore, but a majority of times, if you look at the right side of the screen, it says right here, learn new emote submissive. So I learned a new emote. There's a bunch of emotes you could hunt for in this game. The cool thing is that some of these will actually give you recipes for new foods, new drinks, stuff like that. So you want to keep an eye out for these. Even if it's not around a campfire, sometimes they're just here in general. You'll just find them in a certain spot, maybe like little notes. and you can learn some, some really good recipes. Actually, one of the best foods in the game, at least the vanilla game, you learn from a book and just on a random spot. So the other thing you want to do is this gray node. This is your iron nodes. This is where you're going to get iron ore for to make iron bars, to make iron weapons and stuff. You're just going to hit this up because, as you can see, breaking down an iron node is a journey step. The next thing you want to do is, this is just going to be a lore object up here, but you want to keep an eye out for these little glowy stones. You see how you get close to it, it starts like glowing different colors. Sometimes it's green, red, blue, whatever, doesn't matter. If you click on it, just click on them. In this instance, it's just a lore one, so it's reading you a story. But there are going to be ones that will teach you things, so just keep an eye out for that. So once you hit that, turn left, and you can see a little fire off in the distance behind these trees. You're going to want to start heading right over there. So we're going to run over there. And this is going to be the reason that I told you not to pick the Yogg religion right off the bat when you're in character creation, because there's a little dude right here, and it actually tells you to interact on him instead of he's not attacking you. So if I talk to him, you can talk to him. You can learn the cheer emote, which is kind of cool. You learn emote and learn Acolyte of Yogg. And if we go to feats, we now have the Yogg religion. So we can make the Yogg temple, we can eat the cleaver, and we can make purified flesh. So this is actually one of the things that the Yogg religion makes, which we'll go over that when we make the temple and stuff like that. But just keep an eye on that. So that's a really good place. That's the place where you're going to learn Yogg. And if you picked one of the other religions, you would now have two. So another thing we're going to show in this area is, so we got a tree right here, right? So I'm going to hit it. So as you can see, we're getting about 6 wood, 8 wood, 6 wood, and we're getting branches, right? So we're getting wood and branches, only wood and branches. We're getting about 6 to 8 wood every hit. So I'm going to switch to my pick. And now I'm getting 2 wood, 4 wood, but I also get bark. So there's a couple things this teaches you. So one of the ways you get bark is obviously use your pick on a tree, not an axe. But the other thing is that there are a lot of things in the game that you can use multiple tools on. A lot of times animal corpses or thrall corpses and stuff like that. And depending on what tool you use, it may, not always, but it may change what you get. There are a couple of Age of Calamitous creatures, for example. If you use a skinning knife or a cleaver, you will actually get 2 different types of mats. And that goes for a lot of different creatures. Now, one other thing to make note of in relation to bark. Bark is very important. It's actually a really good fuel. It burns twice as long as wood does, surprisingly enough, when you use it in any station that requires a fuel source. So these white dead trees, if you use your pick on it, it actually is a great source of bark. As you look, we only got like 2 bark from that tree. We just got 16 from these little trees. So usually what I do is when I come here and I get the Yogg religion, I'll basically just walk around and I'll hit all these trees real quick, just so I get a good stockpile right off the bat from the get-go of bark. And that will help me get my skinning table or bench or whatever, so I can turn hides into leather. And I also use, if I have enough of it, I'll use the bark as fuel and like a furnace instead of wood, because like I said, it does burn longer than wood. Now the cool thing is you also get dried wood from these trees. You're not going to get a lot, but dried wood burns even longer. So you can use the dry wood first and then switch over to bark. Or if you have abundance of wood, just use wood. But to start off with, sometimes it's a little easier just to use a little bit of bark until you can get a stockpile. Okay, so what we're going to do is, now that we went over that, I'm going to continue going east on the river. And again, I'm just going to fast forward. And anytime I see iron nodes, I'm going to stop and get them real quick, just so we can get a nice stockpile of iron nodes, or iron. So when we get to our location, we can start smelting some of that iron into iron bars and get ready to make some iron tools. Okay, so I wanted to come back. I was just not going to come back until we got to our building location, but I came across this. So you are going to come across these. As you see, these guys weren't that hard to kill, but this lady, she's the way I could tell she was different is because she was dressed in armor. When I hit her, she actually had 1 skull above her. So she's an elite. You can kind of think of it as kind of like a mini boss. They occasionally spawn randomly on the map in any area. Elite creatures usually have glowy eyes. Elite thralls, they're going to be a little bit more, like, she was a little larger in stature, and usually they're armored a little better. As you saw, everything else is wearing like leathers and stuff like that. She actually has like metal and stuff. The cool thing about them is you get a lot of experience when you beat them. They are harder. If she hit me, it would took off a chunk of life. She took a little bit much more from me, The also cool thing is they usually drop good armor. The awesome thing is she dropped an iron pick, which is sweet, but she also dropped. And that example where I was telling you use your pick on corpses. So I'm using my pick on her corpse, and I got hide from it. But the awesome thing is she dropped actual armor, and this is not just armor. This is flawless armor. So there are 3 tiers of armor in the game. There's regular, exceptional, and flawless. So the exact same armor, but with a exceptional rating, is going to have a little higher armor value. It may actually give you a higher attribute bonus and a higher durability. So it's basically better. And then the next level, flawless, is even better. So if I made this exact same armor I'm wearing right now, and granted it's just the pants and the hat, it wouldn't be probably. Actually, maybe we'll make it. Maybe not this episode, but I'll try to remember to make it in a future episode. But I would probably say a decent amount of points higher. I mean, at low level, it's not gonna be anything crazy, but it is better than nothing. So we are right here on the map, as you can see. So we are in J5. Now this is kind of the zone where I was telling you, right at the line of I and J on the river is where I would consider the end of Noob River. So we're a little past it. It's a little, there's the same kind of guys. There's just a higher volume of it. There's a lot of crocs, a lot of these turtle dudes. There is a boss. He's actually right there. So you kind of want to steer clear of him. But the reason I come over here is I usually build, as you can see, someone's built up there, but I usually build up there and there, maybe back there and there a little bit. You can build a little farther over there, or where I think we're going to build this time is we're going to build right over here. So we're going to build, so you can build anywhere in this region or in this region. You can even go down here if you really want to. It's just a little farther of a run. But so we're going to build like right over here somewhere. The main reason we're going to do it, and before I mention that, don't build here. Don't build. These are really, really nice places. Actually, when we run around this, you'll see in a second. There's probably actually somebody already built up there. Yep, there is. So I would avoid those places, that place, and this place, and especially these two over here. The only reason is there's a mechanic in the game called Purge, and as soon as you get into these islands, especially these ones right here, this one I'm not so sure about, but I would guess that it's probably the same. You actually start getting some of the Age of Calamitous purges, and the ones you get in these areas, I've actually seen a player build right here, and get an Age of Calamitous purge that's really bad. They will destroy your base. They are not meant for players under the level of under level 60. At least that specific one that you get over there. So I wouldn't risk it. I would stay in this area. You're more apt to just get the vanilla purges, which are actually level appropriate for this area. So just a little note. But the main reason I come over here, and I'll show where I am on the map one time, or real quick, as soon as I get at the top of this little rock, is... So we're right here. We're right on this little jut, right? This little peninsula. So we're not too far from this. But you're going to need a lot of iron, especially early game, because the tools you use, well, at this point, we technically would be using stone still, but we got ourselves an iron one. But we'll go back to stone once this one breaks. Is that there's a lot of iron nodes here. And the awesome thing is this is a big thrall camp right here. There's a bunch of thralls down there, but they will not aggro you up here as long as you stick to the side. So we're going to hit a couple of these stones real quick. Not going to go crazy, but we'll hit a couple. I'll probably just hit this on this ledge and I'll leave those and we'll come back here after. But as you can see, come down here and just stick to the right, because you can aggro. There's an archer usually right in there that if you move too far to the left, that you'll aggro and they'll shoot at you. Stick to the right, stick to the right. There's a guy right down here, right below this ledge. So what we do is we come down here, give it a wide berth. And see, there's a person right there. Come around. More iron, more iron. If you go around the side, more, and there's a little bit more farther down there. Then what I would do is come here, climb up this rock, and get the iron at the top. Now this side, you have to be a little bit more careful, because if you actually, of course I ran out of stamina, if you actually aggro the guys, any of the thralls in the camp, they can get up here. There's a little ledge at the other end inside the camp. It's like a little like ramp that they can get up here. So if you stick all the way to the right like this, you won't aggro them. And then there's climb up there. They can't get up there, but they can right here, this little ledge. They'll actually walk up this. So you want to stay far as the right. If you end up aggroing them, just jump down or kill them, I guess. You only aggro like maybe one, maybe two of them. But that's really it. That's a really good reason for this area. The other really cool thing, which again we'll show at a different time, is there are brimstone caves right here, and there's 5 thrall camps in this region. So, well, this region. So you're pretty much around, and we're not really that far from a bunch of silk or gossamer that the spiders leave. So we are pretty much near a lot of resources that are needed early game. We have a lot of stone, a lot of low-level creatures we can kill. The thralls in this area are actually meant for lower level, so you shouldn't have any problem. You may have a problem with a couple of them here and there, but for the most part, they should be very simple. So it's actually a pretty good area for the beginning level. And if you stick to this peninsula, that one, or that little area over there, that region, you shouldn't have any issues surviving the purges unless you get really unlucky, which is possible. But what we're going to do, I'm going to break these trees, and then we're going to show you how to build an Age of Calamitous. And then we'll probably, well, we'll see what we get from that. So, I got some points to spend. I'm going to go up to, I want to be able to kill things a little easier, and I want some more grit. I want to actually be able to carry a couple more things too. So the first thing we need to do, in order to build, you need to go to your survival tab, you need to go to art of craft, and we need these 2 things right here. So I'm going to learn art of craft, the very first one, this one right here. And what I need to do is build the enchanting table first, craft. And we're going to wait patiently. And while we're waiting, we're going to get some stone. And I'm going to get some more wood. And as you can see, making the enchanted table was a journey step. So if I would have read the journey steps, I would have saw that this is something I had to make. Place it down. Now I need to make the construction platform. I need oak and slate. Well, I don't have oak and slate. So how do I do that? Come in here. Put my stone in there. Put my wood in there. And I need oak. And I think it was 25 oak. And then I think it was 40 slate. All right. And while that's crafting, let's make sure that's right. Yep. Cool. So let us get some more wood while we're waiting. And it's really good. That's a really good practice to do, is kind of get in the habit of having things craft while you gather mats. The more you can have crafting, you'll gain levels by crafting things while you're off doing other stuff. So it's a real good way to just get a lot more experience, and it saves time. Let's check real quick. All right, that's still crafting. So what we're also going to do is we're going to go to our feats menu, and we're going to unlock the primitive cook. We're going to unlock blacksmith. We're going to unlock either iron tools. We're going to unlock the bed. And we'll leave it like that for now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make the campfire. This is a vanilla thing. I also need stone, which I put all in that thing. So we're just going to get some stone right here. Okay. We're going to make a campfire. And we're going to take oak and the stone. And we're going to make the construction platform. So with the campfire, we're going to place this puppy down. I've been killing some creatures and getting the meat off their corpses, which apparently not that much. I'm going to put the dried wood in there, and I'm going to hit play. Make sure you put a fuel source. See? Fuel source, food, play, cooked food. All right. Construction platform is done. So just something to make note of when you're placing things. As you can see, when I'm placing this and I'm moving up and down the hill, it's staying level with the ground. If I hit my middle mouse button, and now auto aligns to the ground, so it actually be level with the ground, not with the horizon, right? So, and if you want to undo it, you just have to middle mouse again, put it away, bring it back out, and now it's level again. So there are certain things that you'll have to actually line into the ground or else it won't let you place, period. So things like this that will clip into the ground because they're a lot bigger. If you see, if you hold the shift key and scroll, it actually scrolls it up and down. And then without shift key, lets you spin it around. So we got meat now. I'm going to put meat there instead of the eggs that I was picking up on the ground. And we're going to actually eat something. Just eating a fill of meal is another journey step, some more experience. So I go into here and, oh, wait, there's nothing here. Why is there nothing here? This is something a lot of people forget to do. I learned the Cold Embrace, which just learning it gives me a bunch of stuff I can craft. This is all the stuff I can craft for them right now. But I have 2 things that are yellow, which means I can make things. So this first one I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn the second one too. The first one is actually all the build materials. The second one is like the beginning armor and the beginning weapons you can craft. The other thing to do you want to make note is when you look at these, a lot of times people go, oh, what do I craft the beginning armor? Well, it says right here, craft it at sewing station. Beginning weapons, crafted at iron smithy. So all you have to do is find what that station is. So now if I go in here, look at that. So what you want to do is every faction makes their own stuff, their own type of building material, and also those factions, the building materials will be unique. Well, maybe not unique. Some of them share the same builds, but each type of build takes a different resource. So white oak builds take white oak. Regular oak builds take oak. Scourge takes scourge wood. So on, so on. So this one, I need scourge wood to build any of the pieces. As you can see, click on just a couple of them. Scourge wood, scourge wood, scourge wood. When you get to the roofing pieces, it takes scourge wood and chronix stone. So we come back here. I'm going to throw this stuff in there. And you know what we'll do? So instead of doing it one by one, as you see, watch, I'll craft one. It took that long. If I click on the second one with the same picture and it has a 100 here, it's going to take away 100, but it makes 100 in the same time it took to make one. So if you're doing bulk, do it this way, where you make the 100 stacks. It's a lot less time. So I'm going to take all this. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put the scourge wood into here. And now we're going to make a foundation. And I'm going to make we'll make a wall piece. And cool. And what I want to do also is give you an idea of now vanilla build pieces are made in your inventory. And as you can see, so if anything that's handcrafted, this list is bigger now because I unlocked a bunch of stuff. So the vanilla build pieces are made in your inventory. The Age of Calamitous ones are made in a station. So I'm going to show you the tier 1. And I'm going to raise it a little bit just so you can see that. I'm going to put this piece down right there. And then what I'm going to do is take these are the vanilla ones. And these are the exact same as the Cold Embrace ones, except for this is the vanilla. So this is what you get if you don't have the Age of Calamitous mod. Or if you have the Age of Calamitous mod, but you never chose a faction. Now, if you choose a faction, you will get these regardless, right, for the Age of Calamitous. But now I can build all this, and this is what my factions looks like. So these are exactly the same. The stats in these, I actually think the tier 1, I'd have to look at my notes, but I can't remember, but I think the tier 1s actually might have a little bit more HP. They might be a little stronger, but even if we'll just say the same for sake of argument. This looks a lot better than this. So this is the interior. The exterior looks like this, so it's a little darker. So I like to build. This is why I get my faction stuff right off the bat and don't build a temporary base, because I do see a lot of people building these. Some people like this. I actually do. There are certain builds that I actually like to incorporate the sandstone into. But I mean, this just looks a lot cooler right off the bat. You can do a lot more variety of stuff. If you're doing Stormhold and you have a nice blue and teal, it just, it's a little bit more. That's all. So just a suggestion. The other suggestion I want to make is, if you're new to the game, go through and make stuff. Just make it, even if you don't know what it is. Like sewing station. Okay, let me make the sewing station. Let me make the woodworking bench. Oh, what's this soul prison? It says station, so what is it? Let me make it, see what it is. Beds. You don't have to make all the beds, because the beds are all the same. These are just visual different. They're just visually different. Let me make the furnace and the pit of Yogg. Armor's armor, so you could always see what the difference is and make them if you want. But just go through and making stuff. What I would say is for feats, the big thing is whenever you unlock these, so at 20, I'm going to unlock this one. Just unlock them. So this is the tier 2 building, tier 3 building, and then tier 4 is like here, tier 4. So unlock this stuff as it unlocks. I'm going to unlock armor because I want to be able to make armor. And as you can see, when I unlock this one, it unlocked all these. It's because these are all DLCs. So this is starter armor. They're just reskinned of these armors that I get right off the bat. So if you don't own the DLCs, you're only going to get this one, and these are going to have you won't be able to learn these. But again, they're just skins. There are some minor differences and benefits to sometimes having the DLCs, but for the most part, you really don't need them. Ignore this. This is actually a different mod on the server, which we're not going to, that's just a different mod, so it doesn't really apply to us right now. Weapons, obviously, just pick, what I would suggest is pick like 1 or 2 weapon types. If you've never played the game, maybe spend points on all of them. Check out the weapons. I usually go with, I like to go with maces, pikes, and then for one-handed weapons, I usually go for axes and maces. Or not maces and pikes, hammers and pikes, and then maces and axes. The new short sword is actually pretty cool too. It has its benefits. But I mean, it's all playstyle. I know people that like two-handed swords, and all that stuff. So sword and shield, it's all up to you. Find what you like. Let's see. Depending on what faction you are, I would say, so these 2 boxes right here are Age of Calamitous boxes. So as these unlock, you may want to take a look at them. The cool thing is, like, a lot of these, like this one, for example, Apothecary, I unlock a station right out at the top alchemy desk, and this is all the stuff you can make in the station. Which is kind of cool. Some of them are decorations, but some of them are actually stuff you need to make. So my soul prison, for example, I think actually took like mystical dust or moon dust, and it actually also took, let's see if it's in the list. I don't think it is. Yeah, it took arcane essence and stuff. So if you're like, oh, where do I get this from? You can usually just type it in. But a lot of times it's going to be one of these stations. When you start making Age of Calamitous bars, you're like, I get a lot of people asking, hey, where do I make a chromium metal bar? It's like, it's right here in your furnace. So these stations are pretty important to make. I actually always learn these 2 right off the bat too. And then also the stone tools and primitive cook, these are your vanilla stations. I would say as soon as you unlock, you would want to learn these too. Like, you're going to need to learn tanner because you need to be able to turn your hide into leather. Woodworker, change your wood into stuff for bows. When you get the fireball cauldron, do that so you can make start steel fire. That's going to help you make steel bars instead of iron bars, and so forth, so forth. You actually want to learn box maker also, and then thrall taker. Thrall taker is going to let you actually knock thralls out and train them so they can work for you. Other than that, this is purely decoration stuff, so it doesn't really matter. If you have a faction in your Age of Calamitous, you don't need to learn any of the building stuff. You really don't have to learn any of this. You can build everything in every tier in the Age of Calamitous. Now, if you want to start building the later game, if you want to start building the DLC buildings, then you would actually need to learn all these different build types. So that's unlocked a lot later. You don't unlock this until you don't get this stuff until level 30. So just make note of that. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I start the game. Like I said, what I'll do is I'll probably get some mats. I may get like a base, like a starter like structure for the base, but I won't build it all. I'll save that for the next episode, so you guys can see that, and then we'll do some thrall hunting, or I don't know. We'll figure out what we'll do next episode. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we'll end it on that one. We'll pick it up again with the next episode, which my goal is to play this character often, which means I'll have to record it often, which means these episodes come out sooner. We'll see. Life is life, so hopefully we can get them out. But hit that subscribe button so you can actually get notified when I do put them out. Plus, it helps out the channel. Plans. I mean, you guys. I'm sure you guys check back here all the time, but it really does help out the channel if you hit that sub button. If you do continue to watch the videos, hit it just in case. Even if you check yourself and you don't need that reminder, it helps me out regardless. Also, hitting the like button if you enjoyed the video, that helps us out greatly. And then leave a comment. And I do read all the comments. If you have any suggestions or comments or questions, ask them, let them down. Also, I have a question for you all. What factions do you pick? Like, what faction, if you've watched my videos or if you played before, if you're an advanced player or whatever, or you just from the quick look I did there, what faction piqued your interest the most? And why? You know, leave that, or just put in the comment section below what faction you like the most. I'm curious to see what everybody likes to pick and choose, and for what reason, or at least what they pick. So let me know. Also, like I said, if you're interested in finding a really cool PvE server, join the Discord. Link for that is in the description below. If you want to see more of the Conan live, we do stream on live at twitch.tv. A link for that for the channel is in the description below. And I want to do a special shout out to our elite Patreon crew. They are amazing. They help, you know, they go a little above, they go above and beyond to help the channel in every way, shape, or form to make sure that we get more videos out and better quality with better software and all that stuff. So I really do appreciate you all, as I appreciate everybody watching this video. But a little shout out to them. And if you're interested in joining our elite Patreon crew, check out the link below. Awesome people. And we have a lot of really cool things you can unlock in there. So check that out. Otherwise, I'll leave you guys with that one. I'll see you guys on the next episode. And as always, fear the reckoning.